Welcome to Peaceful Mind in Life, where we share profound and practical thoughts to help you find inner peace and take control of your life. In a world full of hustle and pressure, many people are tirelessly searching for happiness but forget the most important thing, the tranquility of the mind. We often get caught up in the whirlwind of work, societal expectations, and endless worries, to the point that we forget how to live a meaningful life. At Peaceful Mind in Life, we believe that happiness does not come from grand achievements or material possessions, but from how we control our minds and respond to life. With strong principles from Stoicism, we aim to bring you deep lessons that help you cultivate patience, resilience, and emotional control. The journey to inner peace is not something distant, it is a choice you can make today. People often dream of a perfect day, where everything falls into place and opportunities come effortlessly. The truth is, that day will never come. Each day is the only opportunity we truly have. Start now or nothing will ever change. Stoic philosophy teaches us that true control lies in our actions, not in external circumstances. In this article, we will delve into Stoic lessons, not as abstract theories but through real-life examples, relatable stories, and principles that you can apply immediately. Let's embark on this journey together. Do you know who your most dangerous enemy is? It's not external opponents, not society, not circumstances, it is yourself. More specifically, it is procrastination, the silent thief of your dreams, opportunities, and even your entire life. We often make excuses: I don't have time, I'm not ready yet, I'll do it tomorrow. But have you noticed that tomorrow never actually comes? The more we procrastinate, the deeper we sink into a loop with no escape. This not only causes us to miss important opportunities but also creates a false sense of security, where we feel safe while slowly losing ourselves. Stoic philosophy teaches that people do not fail because of a lack of ability, but because of a lack of action. The real reason we procrastinate is not external, it is internal. We fear failure. We fear not being good enough, we fear imperfection. But the truth is, no one starts off perfect. A great athlete is not born with supernatural muscles and strength, he trains every day. A great writer cannot instantly create a masterpiece, they write page by page, day by day. So why do you expect yourself to be perfect from the beginning? Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca all believe that action is more important than thought. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Stop debating what a good life should be, and just live it." Meaning, instead of endlessly contemplating what needs to be done, start doing it immediately. Epictetus also said, "You cannot control what happens, but you can control how you react to it." When you procrastinate, you are choosing a negative reaction. You cannot control time passing, but you can decide what to do with your time. Do you want to overcome procrastination? Follow these steps. Take immediate action. If you wait until you feel ready, you will wait forever. Instead of overthinking, act now. Right now. Write down 3 things you need to do and complete at least one of them. Start with small steps, don't think you need to run a marathon right away. Start with a 10-minute walk. Don't think you need to finish a book in a day. Read 5 pages a day. Consistency is more important than perfection. Set specific times. If you keep saying, "I'll do it later," you will never do it. Instead, set an exact time. I will exercise at 6 a.m. When you schedule a task, your mind will treat it as a commitment. Remind yourself of the consequences every time you procrastinate. Ask yourself, if I don't do this today, how will I feel tomorrow? If you keep delaying exercise, a year from now, you still won't be fit. If you keep postponing studying, a year from now, you will still be stuck in the same place. Let future regret become the motivation for action today. Accept imperfection, don't fear making mistakes. Every failure is a lesson, a step toward success. Great people are not those who never fail, but those who refuse to let failure stop them. There is no path to success without taking the first steps. As Seneca said, while we delay, life speeds by. Will you continue letting life pass meaninglessly, or will you take action now? People often believe that to change their lives, they need a major turning point, a breakthrough moment that changes everything. But if you wait for that moment, you might spend your entire life waiting. The truth is, major transformations do not come from sudden grand actions but from small, repeated steps every day. Imagine you want to become a writer. You cannot wake up one day and finish an entire novel. But if you dedicate a little time each day to writing just one page, after a year, you will have a 365-page manuscript. If you want a healthy body, you don't need to work out for 3 hours a day right from the start. Just begin with 15 minutes of exercise daily, and gradually, the power of habit will carry you further. Stoic thinkers like Marcus Aurelius understood that persistence and consistency matter more than fleeting bursts of motivation. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Do not waste time debating what a good person should be. Just be one." This means, instead of overthinking what needs to be done, just start, even if it's a very small step. By focusing on small steps, we avoid the trap of procrastination. If you set a goal too large, you can become overwhelmed and unsure where to begin. But if you break your goal into smaller, manageable parts, you will find it much easier to take action right away. James Clear, the author of the famous book Atomic Habits, pointed out that if you improve by just 1% each day, by the end of a year, you will be 37 times better than when you started. On the other hand, if you let yourself decline by 1% each day, you will quickly regress. Thomas Edison did not invent the light bulb in his first attempt. He tried over 10,000 times before he found the right solution. If he had given up after just 100 tries, the world might have had to wait much longer for electric light. Elite athletes do not become extraordinary overnight. They train day after day, hour after hour, minute after minute, refining their skills. A regular person might assume they are born with talent, but the truth is, it is the small, consistent efforts each day that make the difference. Apply the power of small steps to your daily life by breaking goals into smaller parts. If you want to read 50 books a year, start with 10 pages a day instead of forcing yourself to finish a book in a week. Staying consistent, even on lazy days, try to do at least one small task related to your goal. Not giving up just because results aren't immediate, everything takes time. Remember, bamboo grows underground for 4 years before suddenly shooting up within months. Prioritizing important tasks first, don't wait for the right mood or perfect motivation to start. Motivation comes from action, not waiting. Being patient with yourself, a master is not made overnight but through thousands of hours of practice. Major changes don't come from a magical moment but from small, consistent actions every day. If you want to change your life, don't wait for a golden opportunity or think you must do something grand right away. Start now with a small step. Because the small steps you take today will lead you to a great future. The best way to live a meaningful life is not to overthink it, but to take action. Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius understood that perseverance and consistency are more important than any fleeting impulse. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Do not waste time arguing about what a good person should be. Be one." This means that instead of just sitting and thinking about what you should do, start doing it immediately. Even if it is just a very small step. When we focus on small steps, we avoid the trap of procrastination. If you set a goal that is too big, you may feel overwhelmed and not know where to begin. But if you break the goal down into smaller parts, it becomes easier to take immediate action. James Clear, the author of the famous book Atomic Habits, pointed out that if you improve by just 1% each day, after a year, you will be 37 times better than when you started. Conversely, if you regress by 1% each day, you will quickly fall into decline. Thomas Edison did not invent the light bulb on his first attempt. He tried more than 10,000 ways before finding an effective method to create a working light bulb. If he had given up after 100 attempts, the world might have taken many more years to have electric light. Elite athletes do not become excellent overnight. They train every day, every hour, every minute to improve their performance. An ordinary person might think they have innate talent, but the truth is that it is the small, consistent efforts made each day that create the difference. Apply the power of small steps to your daily life in the following ways. Break down your goals. If you want to read 50 books a year, start with 10 pages a day instead of forcing yourself to finish a book in a week. Maintain consistency. Even on days when you feel lazy, try to do at least one small task related to your goal. Do not give up just because you do not see immediate results. Everything takes time. Remember that bamboo grows underground for the first 4 years before shooting up strongly in just a few months. Prioritize important work first. Do not wait for the right mood to start or for motivation to come to you. Motivation is born from action, not from waiting. Learn to be patient with yourself. Remember, a master does not appear overnight but is created through thousands of hours of practice. Great changes do not come from a miraculous moment, but from small, persistent actions repeated daily. If you want to change your life, do not wait for a golden opportunity. Do not think that you need to do something grand immediately. Start now with a small step. Because it is precisely these small steps today that will lead you to a great life tomorrow. The best way to live a meaningful life is not to overthink, but to take action. Emotions are an inseparable part of being human. But if not controlled, they can turn us into slaves of circumstances, leading us from extreme joy to deep disappointment in the blink of an eye. Stoic philosophy teaches that we cannot control the world, but we can control how we react to it. Inner peace does not come from changing external conditions but from controlling our inner state. Stoics are not emotionless. They do not reject emotions but learn to observe, direct, and control them rationally. They do not let anger explode without purpose. Do not allow fear to hinder the right actions, and do not let sorrow last forever. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his journal every day to remind himself of what was within his control and what was not. He once said, "Your happiness depends on the quality of your thoughts. Guard it carefully." This means that if we let negative thoughts dominate, we will live in misery. But if we choose to think positively, calmly, and wisely, we will always take control of our fate. When someone insults you, you can immediately get angry, retaliate, or choose to remain calm. When a situation does not go as planned, you can despair, blame others, or objectively assess the problem and find a way forward. An angry person. A driver gets cut off on the road and immediately becomes furious, shouting, honking the horn aggressively. This only makes him more stressed, increases the risk of accidents, and ruins his day. A Stoic person, in the same situation, a person practicing Stoic philosophy would take a deep breath, remind themselves, "I cannot control how others drive, but I can control my reaction." They choose to let it go and continue their journey with a peaceful mindset. Both face the same situation, but the second person has a more relaxed day. While the first person makes themselves suffer just because they could not control their emotions. Why is emotional control the key to a peaceful life? Impulsive emotions often lead to mistakes. Decisions made in anger, fear, or distress are rarely wise. Emotional control helps maintain composure. A calm mind handles problems better than a panicked mind. Mastering emotions means mastering your life. When you are not controlled by emotions, you control your actions and build a more meaningful life. Controlling your emotions does not come naturally. It must be trained. How can you develop emotional control? Observe your emotions objectively. When an emotion arises, do not react immediately. Observe it, ask yourself, why do I feel this way? Is this emotion reasonable? Practice mindfulness, spend time each day in silence, observing your thoughts. As Epictetus once said, "You have control over your mind, no one can force you to think or feel anything except yourself." If you learn to recognize your thoughts, you will not be controlled by them. Accept reality and focus on what you can control. Some things are beyond your ability, such as the weather, the actions of others, or unexpected events. But what you can control is your reaction to them. Instead of getting angry about what cannot be changed, ask yourself, what can I do to improve this situation? Change your thoughts. Change your life. If you always think negatively, you will be controlled by negative emotions. Try shifting your perspective. For example, instead of thinking, "I am terrible, I have failed," think, "I have just learned an important lesson, I will do better next time." Apply the "pause for a moment" principle. Before reacting instinctively, pause for a moment, take a deep breath, and consider which action will bring the best result. You cannot control how the world treats you, but you can control how you respond to the world. The difference between a miserable person and a happy person does not lie in circumstances but in their attitude toward them. The next time you face a difficult situation, remember. Do not let anger control you, control your anger. Do not let fear stop you from moving forward, let it become your motivation. Do not let failure defeat you, let it teach you how to rise. Remember, you have more power over your mind than your mind has over you. Take control of your emotions, and you will take control of your life. There is a famous story about two prisoners looking through the bars. One saw only the mud, while the other saw the starry sky. What does this mean? Your perspective determines your experience. The world does not define you, the way you perceive the world defines you. Stoics understand that circumstances do not determine our lives, how we respond to them does. The same event can happen to two people, but they can have completely different perspectives. One sees hardship as an obstacle, while the other sees it as an opportunity for growth. It is not circumstances that shape who you are, but how you choose to perceive them. Imagine you lose your job. One person may fall into panic, blame life, and complain about injustice. Another sees this as an opportunity to learn, explore new paths, and develop new skills. The only difference between these two people is not the situation but how they interpret it. Remember, every situation in life is neutral, only our interpretation gives it meaning. We suffer not because of events themselves, but because of how we perceive them. Nelson Mandela was imprisoned for 27 years. He could have easily drowned in resentment and bitterness. But instead of viewing his circumstances as an injustice, he chose to use his time in prison as an opportunity to train his mind and develop his spirit. The result? He emerged from behind bars not as a broken prisoner, but as a great leader who changed history. When inventing the light bulb, Edison failed more than 10,000 times before getting it right. When asked about his failures, he simply smiled and said, "I have not failed, I have just found 10,000 ways that do not work." If Edison had seen each failure as the end, we might have lived in darkness much longer. How to change your perspective? Focus on what you can control. You cannot control others, but you can control your reaction. You cannot change the past, but you can decide how to learn from it. You cannot control adversity, but you can control your attitude. Learn to ask the right questions. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" Instead of thinking, "Everything is against me," think, "What can I do to turn this situation into an advantage?" Turn adversity into motivation. See every challenge as a test of life. If you overcome it, you will become stronger. View difficulties as an opportunity to develop adaptability and resilience. As Marcus Aurelius once said, the obstacle in the path becomes the path itself. A man once lost everything in a financial crisis. Instead of drowning in despair, he decided to use his unemployment period to learn about finance and investment. 5 years later, he not only recovered his personal finances but also became a successful financial advisor, helping thousands avoid the mistakes he once made. His way of interpreting adversity completely changed his life. You cannot control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond. Life does not define you, how you perceive life does. The next time you face a challenge, ask yourself, is this really a tragedy, or just a lesson? Is this a loss, or a liberation? Is this a failure, or just a stepping stone to success? We suffer not because of circumstances, but because of how we perceive them. Change your perspective, and you will change your life. Patience is not just a virtue. It is one of the most powerful tools to help people take control of their lives. In an era where everything is instantly accessible, from fast food and same-day delivery to information with a single click, we are gradually losing the ability to wait and understand the true value of gradual progress. Look at nature. A tree does not grow tall overnight. It takes years to root deeply, absorb nutrients, and mature before providing shade. A diamond is not formed in just a few days but over millions of years under immense pressure. Anything truly valuable requires time to develop. Humans are no different. A child cannot run immediately after birth. They must go through the process of rolling, crawling, standing, and then walking. If you want to improve, you must accept that progress takes time. The key is not speed but perseverance and consistency. Stoic philosophers have long recognized that valuable things never come instantly. Seneca once said, "Time reveals all. Nothing can be hidden from it." This means that everything in life needs time to reveal its true essence. Success, wisdom, and inner peace all require long-term investment. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "You cannot harvest fruit immediately after planting a seed." If we desire to achieve something, we must plant, nurture, and wait. Famous examples of patience and perseverance. J.K. Rowling, success does not come overnight. Before becoming one of the world's most famous authors, J.K. Rowling was rejected by more than 12 publishers for her Harry Potter manuscript. But she did not give up. If she had lost patience, the world might never have known the great wizarding boy. Colonel Sanders, the journey of KFC's founder. At 65, Colonel Sanders was still struggling to find success. He traveled everywhere with his fried chicken recipe and was rejected over 1,000 times before finding a willing partner. Without patience, KFC might never have existed. Accept that progress takes time. You cannot learn a new language in a week. You cannot build a healthy body after just a month of working out. You cannot gain deep wisdom just by reading a few books. Commit to long-term growth. Focus on the journey, not just the result. If you only focus on the end goal, you will quickly lose patience. Learn to enjoy every step of your journey. Remember, a master is not created overnight but through thousands of hours of practice. Develop habits that cultivate patience. Practice meditation daily. Learn to observe your thoughts without being reactive. Read books slowly, instead of rushing through. Reflect on what you are reading. Train in a new skill. Playing an instrument, painting, or sports all require repetition and time. Do not compare yourself to others. Envy and comparison often make people impatient. Remember, everyone has their own journey. As long as you make progress every day, you are already winning. Patience is not passive waiting but perseverance, resilience, and determination. Success does not happen instantly. But if you have enough belief and consistency, time will be on your side. Everything happens in its own time. Be patient, and you will see everything unfold in the right way. Will you let time slip away in frustration, or will you use it to build a life worth living? Patience is not something that comes naturally, it must be cultivated over time. How to develop patience? Accept that progress takes time. You cannot learn a language in just 1 week. You cannot build a healthy body after only a month of going to the gym. You cannot attain deep wisdom just by reading a few books. Commit to long-term progress. Focus on the journey, not just the result. If you only focus on the destination, you will quickly lose patience. Learn to enjoy each step of your journey. Remember, a master does not appear overnight but is created after thousands of hours of practice. Create habits that cultivate patience. Meditate daily, learn to observe your mind without being disturbed. Read slowly, instead of rushing through, reflect on what you are reading. Practice a new skill, such as playing an instrument, learning to paint, or playing sports. These skills require repetition and time. Do not compare yourself to others. Envy and comparison often make people lose patience. Remember, everyone has their own journey. As long as you move forward step by step each day, you have already won against yourself. Patience is not passive waiting but perseverance, resilience, and not giving up. Success does not come immediately. But if you have enough faith and consistency, time will be on your side. Everything has its time. Be patient, and you will see everything unfold in the right way. Will you let time pass in haste and frustration, or will you use it to build a meaningful life? One of the most obvious truths in life, yet also the hardest to accept, is impermanence. Everything around us, health, wealth, relationships, even our deepest beliefs, will change. The only constant is change itself. People often try to control everything, cling to what is familiar, and fear change. Do not wish for things to happen as you want. Wish for them to happen as they naturally do, and you will have a happy life. This is the foundation of Stoic thinking. Accept reality instead of resisting it. Look at nature, everything moves according to its own rules. Spring comes, flowers bloom vibrantly, winter arrives, trees shed their leaves. You cannot keep spring forever, nor can you avoid winter. A river never holds on to its flow. Water always changes, always moves, and this change itself creates its beauty. The human body ages over time. We cannot stay young forever, but we can learn to appreciate each stage of life. We may grieve when we lose something, but acceptance frees us from prolonged suffering. When someone leaves your life, instead of despairing, be grateful for what they brought. When one door closes, trust that another will open. Stoics are not emotionless people, but they understand that clinging to what cannot be controlled only leads to suffering. We suffer not because of external things, but because of how we perceive them. How can we accept change without feeling a sense of loss? Steve Jobs was once fired from the very company he founded. It could have been a devastating shock. But instead of drowning in resentment, he embraced this change as an opportunity to explore a new path. He founded Next, acquired Pixar, and later returned to Apple, transforming it into the greatest technology company in the world. If he had not accepted failure, would the world have ever had the iPhone, iPad, and other great innovations? Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Roman emperors, not only faced endless wars but also suffered great personal losses. He lost many loved ones, yet he did not let sorrow control him. He wrote in Meditations, "Everything changes. Be ready to embrace it and make the best of what you have. Focus on what you can control. You cannot stop time from passing, but you can control how you use it. You cannot force someone to stay in your life forever, but you can cherish them while they are still there. You cannot prevent failures, but you can learn from them and grow. Create the habit of accepting impermanence. Remind yourself that everything has its time. Practice gratitude instead of complaining when something changes. When faced with difficulties, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Turn change into motivation. If you lose your job, see it as an opportunity to explore new paths. If you fail, see it as a lesson to make you stronger. If a loved one passes away, continue living with gratitude for what they brought into your life. Nothing lasts forever, and that is what makes life precious. Change is not an enemy. It is part of the journey. Welcome it as a companion rather than a threat. You have control over your mind. No one can force you to think anything but yourself. Train your Stoic mindset. Learn to accept impermanence, and you will find peace in every situation. The quality of your life is not determined by your circumstances but by how you think about them. Your mindset is the foundation of the reality you live in. If you believe you are powerless, you will act like someone who is powerless. If you believe you can improve, you will constantly seek ways to become better. That is why controlling your thoughts is the key to achieving peace and inner strength. Stoics are not emotionless, but they have a clear understanding of what they can and cannot control. Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, once said, "There are things within our control, and things that are not." Peace comes when we focus on what we can change and let go of what we cannot. Imagine being caught in a storm. You cannot stop the wind from blowing or the rain from falling. But you can decide how to respond. You can sit there complaining, or you can find a safe shelter. The storm does not determine your fate, your thoughts about it do. Negative thinking weakens you. If every morning you wake up thinking, "I'm not good enough, I have no opportunities," you will live exactly according to that belief. You will not take risks. You will not step out of your comfort zone, and you will trap yourself in a cycle of fear. Positive thinking is not blind optimism, it is focusing on what you can do. Stoics are not naive dreamers. They do not say, "Everything will be fine," and then sit idly by. Instead, they ask, "What can I do in this situation?" and take action based on what they can control. For example, if you lose your job, you may feel anxious and blame fate, but a Stoic would approach the situation by asking, "Can I control the fact that I was fired? No. Can I control how I respond to it? Yes. Can I use this time to learn, improve my skills, and seek new opportunities? Absolutely." How to control your thinking. Recognize your thoughts. When a negative thought arises, pause and ask yourself, "Is this thought helping me?" If not, replace it with a more constructive one. Practice Stoic thinking daily. Each morning, remind yourself of what you can control. I cannot control the world, but I can control how I react to it. Avoid negativity. If you spend your time scrolling through social media and comparing yourself to others, you will only fill your mind with frustration. Change how you see challenges. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" Practice mindfulness. When you feel anxious, stop, take a deep breath, and focus on the present moment. The external world does not make you suffer, how you perceive it does. When you control your thoughts, you control your life. Your mind will become what you repeatedly think about. So be careful about what you put into it. Train your Stoic mindset, and you will see your life change day by day. Stay away from negativity. If you spend your whole day scrolling through social media and comparing yourself to others, you will only fill your mind with frustration. Focus on things that bring real value, such as learning, developing skills, and helping others. Change the way you perceive challenges. When facing difficulties, do not ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Instead, ask, "What can I learn from this?" Every challenge is an opportunity for growth if you know how to perceive it. Practice mindfulness. When you feel anxious, pause, take a deep breath, and focus on the present moment. Anxiety often comes from things that have not yet happened, but the reality is that we can only control the present. The external world does not cause your suffering, it is how you perceive it that determines everything. When you control your mindset, you control your life. The next time you feel stressed or worried, ask yourself, "Is this within my control?" If not, let it go. If it is, take action. Your mind becomes what you think about most often. So be careful what you put into it. Train your Stoic mindset. And you will see your life transform day by day. One of the most powerful Stoic principles is personal responsibility. Stoics do not believe in blind fate, nor do they blame circumstances. And they certainly do not make excuses to avoid responsibility. They understand that every outcome in life stems from their own actions and mindset. If you are unhappy with your current life, do not wait for someone to come and rescue you. If you want change, take action. No one can do it for you, blaming others, complaining about circumstances, or attributing everything to luck will only keep you trapped in a cycle of helplessness. Seneca once wrote, "We cannot change the wind, but we can adjust our sails." This means that you cannot control everything that happens in life, but you can absolutely control how you respond to challenges. Look at your life and answer these questions. Were you born into poverty? No one chooses their birthplace, but you can choose how to respond to it. You can accept fate, or you can learn, work, and change your life. Did you fail in a business venture? You can blame the market, your competitors, or you can learn from your mistakes and try again with a better strategy. Are you unhappy in a relationship? You can blame the other person, or you can self-reflect, change the way you communicate, or simply walk away if that is the better choice. When Theodore Roosevelt was a child, he had a frail body and suffered from severe asthma. But instead of accepting weakness, he trained every day until he became one of the strongest men of his era. Later, he became President of the United States and one of the greatest leaders in history. Oprah Winfrey was born into poverty, suffered abuse in childhood, and faced countless obstacles. But instead of letting the past dictate her future, she actively learned, worked, and built her own career. She did not blame circumstances, she used her hardships as motivation to rise above. How to apply personal responsibility to your life. Stop blaming circumstances. No one is responsible for your happiness but you. Every excuse is just a barrier. When you stop blaming, you will start finding solutions. Take action instead of complaining. Whenever you want to complain about something, ask yourself, what can I do to change it? If there is a solution, take action. If there is none, let it go. If a problem is within your control, do something about it. If not, do not waste your energy on it. Take responsibility for your own happiness. Happiness is not something someone else gives you, it is the result of how you think and act every day. Do not wait for someone to change your life. You are the only one who can do that. No one holds the key to your life except you. You are responsible for your actions, thoughts, and results. When you understand that no one but you can determine your fate, you will find the power to change everything. The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. So, stop complaining, stop blaming, and start taking control of your life today. People often chase happiness in money, fame, and material wealth, but Stoics understand that true happiness does not come from external things, it comes from how we perceive life. If you measure happiness by wealth and status, you will always live in fear because these things can disappear at any moment. But if you learn to find joy in the simple things, you will never be truly poor. Look at life. How many wealthy people feel empty inside? How many people own everything but feel lost? And how many people, despite living simply, always feel peaceful and fulfilled? The secret does not lie in what you own, it lies in how you appreciate what you have. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within your way of thinking. What you own can be taken away, but your mindset is the only thing that no one can control except yourself." Stoics do not see money or fame as forbidden. But they understand that if one clings too tightly to these things, they become a slave to their own desires. Seneca once said, "You do not own possessions, possessions own you." If you allow material things to define your self-worth, you will live in constant fear of losing them. But if you live simply, you will no longer be bound by meaningless worries. Diogenes, one of the great Stoic philosophers, lived in a clay jar and owned only a small bowl. One day, He saw a child drinking water with cupped hands and realized that even the bowl was unnecessary. He threw it away and lived a life of freedom, unburdened by material possessions. When Alexander the Great offered to grant him anything he desired, Diogenes simply replied, "Can you step aside so I may enjoy the sunlight?" He did not seek power, nor wealth, he only needed freedom and inner peace. Japan is home to one of the longest living communities in the world, the people of Okinawa. They do not chase luxury, nor do they accumulate excessive wealth, yet they live happily, healthily, and peacefully. Their secret? They appreciate what they have, enjoy simple pleasures like tending to their gardens, having meaningful conversations, and staying close to nature. Live simply in the Stoic way. Reduce unnecessary possessions. Ask yourself, is this truly necessary for my life? If something does not bring real value, let it go. Learn to enjoy simple joys, a cup of hot tea, a good book, a meaningful conversation. These bring greater happiness than any luxury item. Do not wait for grand events to be happy, find joy in the smallest moments. Do not let material things control you. Money can buy convenience, but it cannot buy inner peace. Use money as a tool, but do not let it define your self-worth. Focus on experiences rather than possessions, travel, learn, connect with others. These enrich your soul more than owning excessive material things. Happiness does not come from what you own, but from how you perceive life. Stoics understand that the simpler life is, the freer one becomes. When you detach from materialism, you create space to truly enjoy what matters most. You can have a good life right now, let go of the belief that you need more. Start simplifying your life today, and you will find happiness that nothing can take away. Live each day as if it were your last. No one knows what tomorrow will bring. We are all walking an uncertain path, where each passing day brings us closer to the end. Stoics do not fear death, they only fear living without truly existing. They understand that time is limited, and this very fact makes every moment precious. Each morning, ask yourself, if today were my last day, would I be satisfied with how I lived? If the answer is no, then it is time to change. Let go of what is unimportant, focus on what is meaningful, and live with intention and purpose. We often waste time on meaningless things, postponing important tasks, hoping for a better time to start, holding on to grudges and anger, only to realize we are the ones suffering the most. Living as if we have unlimited time, endlessly chasing distant goals while forgetting to enjoy the present. We do not lack time, we only waste it. Happiness is not in some distant future, it is in the present moment, if you learn to appreciate it. Steve Jobs once shared that every morning, he asked himself, if today were my last day, would I want to do what I am about to do? If the answer was no too many times in a row, he knew he needed to change. This mindset helped him create unimaginable breakthroughs and leave behind a lasting legacy. Randy Pausch, a professor at Carnegie Mellon University, upon learning he had a terminal illness, delivered the last lecture, a speech that touched the hearts of millions. Instead of blaming fate, he spent his remaining time living fully, sharing valuable lessons, and encouraging people to chase their dreams before it was too late. Let go of what does not matter. Do not waste time on petty conflicts. Do not let things you cannot control disturb your peace. Spend time on what truly matters: family, friends, passion, and personal growth. Pause and ask yourself, am I living or merely existing? Are you pursuing what truly makes you happy? Are you spending time with people who genuinely matter? If today were your last day, would you have regrets? Act now, do not wait for a perfect moment. If you have a dream, start pursuing it today. If you have something to say to someone, say it now. If there is something you want to do not delay, do it now. Live with gratitude. Be grateful for each day you get to breathe, to experience life, cherish small moments, a meal with loved ones, a peaceful morning, a smile from a stranger. When you appreciate the present, you stop worrying too much about the future. We cannot control when life ends, but we can control how we live each day. Do not let life pass by without making an impact. Do not wait for something to happen before you start truly living. Live each day as if it were your last, and you will never be disappointed. Act today, because nothing is certain about tomorrow. Live a life worth living. The journey to peace, meaning, and happiness is not in distant things. It does not depend on wealth, status, or major events. It lies in every moment you live, in every decision you make each day. Life is not a rehearsal, this is the only reality you have, and you are responsible for making it worthwhile. Instead of waiting for big changes or perfect moments, start with yourself. Everything you need is already within you. Patience, discipline, the right mindset, and gratitude are the tools that will help you live not just a good life, but a truly fulfilling one. Are you living as if today were your last? Are you controlling what you can control? Are you letting go of the meaningless to focus on what truly matters? We cannot make time longer, but we can make it meaningful. Live consciously, purposefully, and responsibly. Practice patience. Let go of what does not matter, control your emotions, and embrace life's impermanence as a companion, because in the end, you do not control the world, but you can control yourself. And that is all you truly need to create a peaceful and fulfilling life. Live as if you were living a second time, and the first time, you had made every mistake possible.